Aloha, ladies and gentlemen. This is JohnRemus.com TV. We're over at the Ala Shopping Center, and it's my want to share a general breakdown of my ideas that have helped me to transcend just feeling negative feelings, feeling upset, envy towards others, bad moods, and just have the level of control that I desire in my life, and that's part of the where you have to go with it. You have to realize that it's about self-control. It's about not having other people control you, being aware that they want to, and also having an understanding that uh, you know even your desires can control your life and push you in such a way that your life is not yours. And so how do you make your life yours? Well, first of all, a realization that I'll do top 10 here. One, make a decision that I want to have my basic needs met by me, and that is to go beyond any subconscious programming or even change terms around. Don't name anyone your parent anymore, for example. I go into that more on my website, but don't name anyone your authority, and really want to meet your own needs. And in that way you'll be able to, you'll have activated your first chakra. And see, what happens is, if you other people are activating your chakras, your first, second, and third, and so on, they have control over you. Maybe you even have a little control over them. That occurs when people enter into relationships based upon want for money or power, or to satisfy their desires, and you just get a confusion going on. But what you want is clarity. So number one, and then of course number two being self-intimacy. That's the secret to having control over your desires. And you might think that, oh well, it's okay to have a casual, non-committal, not your dream mate, quote unquote. But what happens is, if you give your energy away, which you need that energy. It's not free to have casual intimacy. You want to engage in self-intimacy. Obviously, I'm hinting at masturbation, but it's a reality, and it's a reality that people think is almost a joke, or okay, I'll do it. People do it, but no, you have to do it. Have it an intentional, everyday thing, so that you're actually activating that chakra and not hoping that other people are going to do it for you. And so that you don't want other people to have power over you, right? Just like number three, involving the third chakra. If you naturally activate the third chakra with doing stuff like I'm doing right now, little creative works, and maybe journaling, not wanting other people to discover things for you or make you feel good, knowing what you want, knowing you like, the type of music you like, and deciding, hey, you know what, this is me, and I know me, and you discover you can activate this chakra with rituals, like in creative works, like I'm saying, but also things like just listening to music, exercise, and such. And artificial ways to activate the chakra, or they're not artificial, but they're external. They're wanting power from others, wanting reassurance and confirmation, and agreeance from others, wanting others to say sorry to you, apologize, or forgive you, whatever it is, all external, right? So you want to be able to manage those thoughts on your own. And it also has to do with buying luxury things, and I want to describe luxurious things as being trophies. Okay, the idea of a trophy, right? I want a fancy watch or whatever you want. If you have in your mind this idea that, oh, someone else is going to buy it for me, or oh, I'm hoping that I'm going to somehow get it cheaper, or whatever it is that you want to do, what happens is if you do that, you end up not getting the full sensation or experience of something, in deservingly saying that, I'm going to work hard, I'm going to rightfully earn this, it's going to be equal to me in my existence. I'll explain that. Let's say rich family gets their younger child a high performance car, luxury car. Can the child really appreciate that if they haven't purchased this on their own? That's what I'm trying to say. And it's also like this, you wouldn't want to steal it, and of course you wouldn't want to, you're morally upright, but I'm just saying that even if somebody stole something or someone just gave it to them, to have it every day as a trophy that reminds you of, this is me, not just because you like it for your style or lifestyle, but because, this is the work that I do. This is, it's expressed in this way, and it's for me. That's what you want. Instead of wanting other people to do things for you or pay attention to you, activate that third chakra. That's your emotions, right? And then number 4, I'll just talk about the fourth chakra for instance here. That's when you've activated those 3 chakras. And by the way, this is, as you can see, it's something it's a daily occurrence. You have to be aware of this and involved in it every day. But when you do, you get into the 4th chakra, which involves unconditionality. This is maybe only happen at the end of the day, maybe the weekend. It's where you've worked, you've sorted out your emotions, your thoughts, all of this, and now you can truly be unconditional in your approach to things. Unconditional love means you don't want anything in return, that type of thing, and that's exciting. That's when you can, maybe the needs and everything is met from your family, so you were responsible, but now you can be more abstract or altruistic or utopian or spiritual, whatever you want to call it. You philanthropic. You can do that in the 4th chakra. You can go to a place where you're like, oh, I want to be charitable. Whatever you want to do, 4th chakra, right? And then you guess what the 4th chakra indicates? It indicates that it's all us. And you can actually do this. And sometimes it's not safe to do it, quote unquote, because you're in a potentially unsafe environment and you're here and now. But get yourself to, the 4th chakra has to do with like meditation and thinking, right? And intentional thinking about the world type of stuff. And get to a, private place, safe place, and start thinking about, or other things you can do, right? Obviously, you can be whatever charitable acts, but in particular thinking about, instead of thinking about how you look at people, just being able to look at people, and you can do this in public if it's safe too, but just being able to look at people and look directly at people and imagine in your head, realize this person is imperfect, they're not worthy of envy, they're not perfect. Let's say they're engaged in an act that, see what the ego does, okay, watch this. The ego makes you think that acts are good, but they're actually not. They make you think that acts like seduction or having power over others or being rude or unfriendly or domineering, whatever, the ego makes you think that those are actually good acts. This is like the animalistic, right? But they're not good, and we know that when we're in the 4th chakra. We know that doesn't actually satisfy the spirit, the soul. And that's what I mean when I say, like, for example, in the 2nd chakra activation, of course you want a life partner to be intimate with and everything, but if it's not your dream mate, if it's not the right person, guess what it's going to be? It's going to be, I'm thinking here, it's going to be just sex, lust. It's not soul. Okay? Soul is when you want somebody's soul. And I'm going to continue on to that subject. Number 5, the idea of the dream mate, abbreviated as DM, dream mate. The dream mate is somebody who you absolutely and unequivocally want to be with for your whole life. You see them and you are able to feel that, hey, this person's equal to me. Perhaps, and most likely, they're similar in health or wealth, or they're just, obviously they're going to have other similarities like mutual physical attraction, lifestyle preferences. They're going to have this, more than just, some people make the mistake of thinking that, oh, just because we're going to the same class or we work together, we have some interest, like, oh, we both like this restaurant, or, oh, we both have an iPhone, or whatever. Those are, although they may seem nice surfacely, they're inconsequential. They don't really get to it. You have to have a lot in common for somebody to be your dream mate. To feel equal to somebody, to not feel like you ever have to worry about, what happens if I become, my handicap, my leg or my arm, or even blind, or what happens if I, lose my income, or have restart careers. This is the type of stuff that people should have the foresight to consider, but have the satisfaction of knowing that your dream mate will not judge you or leave you under difficult circumstances. Instead, what will happen is you will be able to be you. You'll be able to want your soul, want your dreams, in correspondence to wanting somebody else's dreams. And that's exciting. That's very compelling, right? Number 6. Number 6 has to do with this visualization of light that I do. And I believe it's I think people in their soul, we know that we're unity conscious, okay, we're all one consciousness, okay, we're all, one unified field of white light, okay, but how do you, where do you, on this, that's the scale of abstraction, where do you on the scale of practicality, where do you find answers to how do you get more synchronicity and a better quality of life? Well, of course, there's these visualizations of imagining people smiling, wanting good for people, and not being upset at them. Sometimes you have to be practical and be upset, be defensive, have people imprisoned, have people humanely executed, and so they can go into their next life. That I'll talk about in number 7. But as I'm saying in number 6 here, this visualizations of light. So simply imagine that you're in a Harry Potter type of wizardry scenario, and you can with your fingers, I use my fingers, and I imagine beaming a brilliant beam of white light. I beam it across like a laser bright white beam. I imagine other people beaming it, and I even imagine them grasping spheres of white light. This is actually more popular than you might realize. People do this type of white light visualization as surrounding, shield of light and spiritual protection, and I've found it to have effectiveness. And I'd recommend trying it one day, doing a lot of it one day, and then the next day doing none of it. And I think you'll be able to discern that, well, wait a second, this actually has an effect on my life. And the interesting thing about it is it's not like in certain religions, hoping somebody else will do something for you, hope they'll solve the world's problems, or hope some deity or supernatural force will be able to figure things out for you in this life or another. By the way, I don't think the idea of heaven is such a nice one. In fact, I'm going to flip to number 7 here, because we're at that point here. We're at the point of reincarnation, and therein lies my theory of investing in your future incarnation. Because guess what? If you, okay, make a decision that, you know what I'm going to do? I'm going to not feel badly about, I'm not going to feel badly about being in whatever situation I'm in. You know, I'm going to feel good. you know, your body or circumstance may be flawed, but guess what? You're going to feel good. You're going to feel really good. And the reason for that is because every body is yours. Every body, quote unquote. So invest in your future incarnation. For example, you might think, oh, you know, I don't like my body as much as this couple's body. And make sure this couple is a loving, committed couple. And then you can invest time, maybe help raise their children. You can offer them financial support because guess what? Their children's children, that couple's grandchildren, guess what? It might be you. Might be you in your next incarnation, right? So that's what you want. You want to have this worldview of every body is mine. It all belongs to me. I am the quote unquote overarching God force, and I make things happen. I do that from one incarnation to the next. I come up with ideas and whatever you do, and invent concepts, technologies. Just do regular day-to-day work. Do it all in the name of a better humanity. You know, think beyond yourself for a moment. That's higher level. That's higher consciousness. And let's talk a couple more items, or only a few more here. Number 8, 9, and 10. So 8, let's talk about, what do we want to talk about here? How about the dream team, quote unquote? You know, I don't like the idea of people naming each other father, son, uncle, nephew, etc. when they're adults, because and self-reliant, because it's an inconsistency. It's like the terms imply submission and authority, which is suitable when someone's younger. But I like to use more precise terms. Like, guess what? I can refer to maybe I call them legal, biological, relative persons, LBRP. LBRPs, those are people like your biological father or brother or uncle. And guess what? I refer to these people might refer to them as friends. I might refer to them as part of my dream team. Equals, like brothers would be equals, or brothers or sisters. Not older or younger, or niece, or any. See, all these terms, you know. Let's get more specific, ladies and gentlemen. Let's take a step. Let's take a turn in the direction of a higher standard of living. And this is the new quote unquote royalty that I have an excitement about. That I've come up with some of these ideas. It's not ruling over others. It's ruling over yourself and having a high level of understanding of what is going on and who you are and your relationship to your environment and persons that are in your world. You know, you want to nail this, because you don't want if you don't nail this, okay, here's what happens. If you don't figure this stuff out, if you don't have clarity on your goals and interests, people's willpower takes you over. People are able to manipulate you. And I'll make this number 9. People can manipulate you. Okay? How do people do it? Sometimes it's as simple as distracting one with one's lower chakra wants, needs, and desires, and needs. See, the sequence of things is important. That's first, second, and third chakra. Your needs, your desires, right? Second chakra, and third chakra, your wants. People can offer you intimacy. And by the way, it's not really even intimacy. Like, let's say a male or female prostitute, male or female client. That you don't prostitute, engage in that exchange with someone you care about. Okay, this is big right here. Consider this. What happens is you engage in intimacy with somebody who you like, right? And then there's variants of it, but I'm just the extremes. For example, there's your dream mate, and then there's a prostitute. So it's the complete opposite. And it doesn't mean that you hate the person. Maybe you think that, oh, maybe I can give them money, they can give me intimacy. But really, it's just a waste of time. It's a waste of time and energy and money that you need in order to take steps every single day towards your dreams and in turn, your connection with your dream mate. And the reason there's a gap, like, for example, you might ask me, why don't you pursue your dream mate right now? Because I don't have the financial stability required for child rearing. That's why. And also, I haven't fully established myself in my career and my even having a house. That's my encouragement to people, though. You're going to feel great when you actually establish yourself, and do it like a doctor or an attorney or somebody who has advanced learning. You don't think in terms of, oh, I'm just going to study for 4 years, or I'm going to hopefully my biologically or societal expectations of, oh, I got to have a family right away. No, really, really sharpen yourself. Really figure out, oh, you know what? This is me. And then a year ago you say, well, and now I'm adding that onto me. And then by the time you know it, by maybe it's 25, maybe it's 30, you really know who you are, and you're more poised to have a complete and wholesome and really life that you can call yours. And that's what you want. And so, like I was saying, though, in number 9 here, manipulation. People can seduce you with simple things, especially younger people. That's why they should have GCs. That's the term I use. I call it guardian clients and MG and FG, male and female guardian. These are more advanced terms, I believe, than mother, father, uncle, grandmother, etc. These are terms that imply guardianship and imply person will look out for you. Not just emotionally, but physically. They'll walk around with you. They'll make sure. By the way, I have other ideas, relevant ideas, regarding like separate schooling for no co-ed schooling, because what's the point of that? It's just a distraction, and people get excited. They're human beings. It has to be explicitly stated and brought to a level of social and community awareness that people have desires. They have physical attraction desires, sexual desires, and because of that they should be treated accordingly and seriously, and not casually. Not like, oh, maybe they can be co-ed and be in the same classes, because all that is they're just stifling each other's emotions, and they're overcharging, or their pheromones. They're overworking their pheromones, and then all these people become dull, and I'm not just talking about Wi-Fi and fluoride and toothpaste and chlorine and tap water, all which can be avoided, and other alternatives. But I'm talking about also emotions. You just dull yourself if you're around the opposite gender all the time. Polarity. You want to create polarity. You want to create that dynamic. You want to create some contrast in your life. You do that with space. You do that by maybe at the end of the day, not talking to your spouse, but at the end of the day, then you can look forward to seeing them. For example, instead of talking throughout the day, and you're diluting something. You don't want stuff that's lukewarm. You don't want casual. You don't want non-committal. You want max out. If you're watching this, right? That's what you want. So how do you do that? Well, you can do it, and you might as well. Okay. You just need to have the right approach. And maybe that's good enough. Maybe that's number 10. As a conclusory note. Let's just go to that place. Let's go to that place of being and feel good about it. Feel good about what's possible for not only ourselves, but as a group of human race on this planet. And as a side note, I'd like to include that some people prioritize things like their pets, or say the environment, or endangered species, or going to space, or these more abstract sciences, instead of the more concrete things of social engineering and farming and agriculture and life-sustaining things and meeting basic needs, more practical applications. There's all types of stuff out there. People have their choices to make, and people should have some freedoms to do so. They shouldn't be forced in some type of a socialist or totalitarian communist regime where everyone's pushed to, you know, but there are, you don't want to go too far capitalist either, where you're getting too abstract, too, like, for example, here's what capitalism can do. Money can distract people. Things can distract people. Vacations, cars, all of it can distract people from actually doing the work they need to do to create their world. You can get in the way. Going to eat fancy food can get in the way of, like I pour water on oatmeal and cold water, and freaking 5 minutes later it's done, and I consume it. It actuates with the water, and simple stuff like that. But it doesn't take time. It's not costly. And you got to realize that there's certain things that you can do, and strategies you can apply, like even rewashing the same pair of underwear, for example, and then letting it air dry. I know it might sound odd, but there are ways to make your life quicker, free it from all these complications and elaborations, because you want to make sure you have time to focus on creating your world. And that's the deal. That's what we're wanting. That's the deal. All right. So let's go there. Thanks for considering, and let's do this.